Hello everybody, this will be a short video on the topic of vegantinatalism. I've called myself a vegantinatalist for a few years now, I think, and it's the combination of a couple of words, vegan and antinatalist. So the two things that I regard as the most important problems in the world relate to animal exploitation and overpopulation. Specifically of humans. But as we'll see, the overpopulation problem does not only apply to humans, it applies to commodified and farmed animals as well. So the first word in vegantinatalism is vegan. It's the animal rights movement is growing exponentially in 2020, and people are starting to wake up to the fact that veganism is very, very important for the future of the world. But not only that, most importantly, it addresses the most devastating holocaust in human history, which is the animal holocaust. Every year, trillions of animals, whether they be cows, sheep, pigs, chickens, ducks, goats and fishes, are slaughtered for human consumption. And this is not only terrible for the animals themselves, it's terrible for the planet, and it's terrible for the humans that actually eat them, because animal products are bad for your health. So I don't take the same tactic as Anonymous for the Voiceless, which is a animal rights organization that I much admire. I don't follow their particular guidelines and just say that veganism is just about animals, although it is essentially just about the animals themselves. In the past, veganism and animal rights activism has been a lot about health and the environment, but these are just side issues. The real issue is essentially the effect that killing has on animals, which is of course a fatal effect. So, why is veganism so important? It's important because every life that we save is an indication of how we treat each other as well. And of course, animals are part of the sentient community of earthlings that we live with on this planet. Just because they look different to us, just because they behave differently, and may not be somewhat as so-called intelligent as us, they are still worthy of a good and fulfilling life. In the farming, animal agriculture industries, animals are killed at a very young age, normally about 6 months for pigs, for example, or 20 weeks for a chicken. So they live very short lives compared to their natural lifespan. And so if we want to be responsible citizens of the world, we have to realize that eating animals is against the very morals of our existence, due to the fact that animals are killed at a very young age. They don't have a good life, they're exploited, they're mutilated, they're raped, their children are taken away from them, and they live very, very artificial and very, very commodified lives. I think there's a quote by Yuval Noah Harari which I'd like to recall, which is, "Whilst we have taken care of the objective needs of industrialized animals, we have forgotten their subjective needs." So this is a very important quote. I'll say it again. "Whilst we have taken care of the objective needs of animals for our own use, we have forgotten their subjective needs, their needs for love, care, attention, support, and generally a good life." So all the things that they get, like food and shelter, take care of their objective needs but don't care of their innermost emotional needs, and that is driving a lot of animals absolutely crazy before they die, and a lot of them simply can't stand the torment of being raped and mutilated, and they go mad essentially. So let's talk about antinatalism and why it ties in with veganism. If you look at some of the hardcore animal rights groups such as Anonymous for the Voiceless, who I mentioned earlier, they don't address antinatalism at all, because they see it as a side issue, and in some ways I agree with them, but it's still a problem, and it's still something that needs to be addressed. The population of humans in the world today is 7.8 billion, and that's rising exponentially. And antinatalism is an attempt to address the problems of too many humans on this planet, but not only that, too many animals on this planet. There are 56 billion land animals in the world today, which are slaughtered every year, I should say, for human consumption. Some figures say 70 billion. It depends on how you define the term land animals, but between 56 and 70 billion land animals are slaughtered every year for human consumption. And that's taking a huge toll on not only animals but humans themselves. So if we look at the poverty figures for humans, about 25,000 humans die from poverty every day around the world. So this is as a result of food being fed to animals for farming practices rather than being fed to humans directly. So if the plant foods that we feed to animals is fed directly to humans, we would be able to solve our poverty problems immediately. But the world is a very, very selfish place because animal agriculturalists insist on feeding their crops like soy and other forms of plant food to animals. That is very inefficient and only produces every 12 kilograms of vegetables which is fed to animals produces 1 kilogram of animal product. So it's very, very inefficient, it's very, very unethical, and that's the reason why being vegan and being antinatalist is so important. So in regards to childbirth from humans, I personally, as an antinatalist, think that children are beautiful creatures and I would never harm a child human. At the same time, I blame their parents for bringing more children into the world than is necessary for example, the continuation of human existence. Nor do I particularly believe in the continuation of human existence, because I believe that it can be argued that the world would be a better place without humans existing in the world at all. So there's that argument as well, which is called ethilism. But apart from that, human childbirth is unnecessary in 2020 when there are so many humans that exist today. And although a lot of people get a kick out of being able to have dominion over a child and a baby and bring them up to educate them and have a job and live a life of relative misery because they have to work 40 hours a week and have children of their own and have to support themselves and all that, and and develop diabetes and heart cancer in their later life. Some people still think that that's rational and reasonable for them to do that, and I think it's completely preposterous to think of having children in a world which is causing so much suffering. Of course, in the next 40 or 50 years and closer, in the next 20 and 30 years, we don't know what's going to happen to the world. Climate change is having a huge toll on the world, and it could work out to be a very different situation, a very much worse situation for the planet in the next 10, 20 or 30 years. So having children in this day and age is completely irrational and unreasonable. So, just as I mentioned in the early part of this video, vegantinatalism is a combination of veganism and antinatalism. It's a word that is not even found in Google at the moment. It's not even defined in Google. If you Google it, and if you try and look for it in all modern dictionaries, you won't find it, but it's a word that I've tried to popularize, and I will try to popularize in this video because it's very, very important. So I hope you will join the vegantinatalist tribe, and that you will contribute positively to the planet rather than contributing by eating animal products and by having children in this terrible world that we live in. Thank you very much and have a lovely day.